All right, so Gary Vaynerchuk, basically what I'm saying is he has an agenda that's different from his public persona and what he presents himself as. He's trying to encourage people to become involved in social media as far as like generating content, buying ads on Facebook and things like that. And the reason he does this, I think, is because he's been a major investor in Facebook for a long time, from before it was a public company. So this is his own Facebook post here. You can go look this up. So he says, so he used to work for his dad's wine company, but he's saying he didn't become rich from that. So he was 33 years old, renting an apartment because I was saving cash to go on the. Okay. I had hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay, so there we go. So he had worked for his dad's company up until this time. I think he started his own company around this time when he was 33 or 34 or something like that. So he had hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's pretty okay. So I mean, that's pretty direct of how much money he had. He did not have millions. So he was not a millionaire after working for his dad's company. And there's a lot of people I think that have said he did inherit the company later on or something like that. I'm not sure about that, but I think his story makes pretty good sense, because what he's saying is that he invested in Facebook and Twitter at that time. And if you just look at the amount of money that those have generated since then, it's been significant. Just because the IPO itself may have made him a lot of money for Facebook, which it's hard to know because the stock wasn't publicly traded, so it's hard to know what price he bought in at. So he was 33 years old, renting an apartment, saving cash to go on the offense. He put hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line. So he invested in Facebook and Twitter. It says he bought shares from Mark's parents. So I encourage everyone to look at this post themselves. Don't just go based on what I'm saying. The first two investments I made were in Twitter and Facebook. A lot of you don't know this, but I actually bought shares from Mark's parents. So that means he developed some kind of relationship where he got access to buying private Facebook shares from Mark Zuckerberg's parents. As he said, a few $100,000 is probably what it was. That's kind of the amount of money you have to invest in a private company, I think. You're not just going to be able to buy, $1,000 worth of Facebook like you can nowadays because it's public. You had to put a big chunk of money on the line to do that kind of thing. So that's probably right there is how he became a millionaire, because he was, relatively, obviously having a few $100,000 is not poor. That's having some money, but he probably became a millionaire because of his investment in Facebook. Pretty straightforward and simple. And he's continued to own Facebook stock and invest in it ever since. And he's continued to talk about this publicly ever since. So if you just look at like the Facebook chart, this is from when I went public in 2012. It's more than quadrupled. I mean, well, it's gone back down since, but it had at one point recently more than quadrupled. It looks, and then, so he probably got in here. It could have been down lower. Who knows? He may have paid $20 a share or something like that. So this could have been what initially got him to becoming a millionaire. His current net worth is $160 million. And he didn't, I think only the last few years his VaynerMedia company really took off, where it's making a lot of money. So in 2016, it grossed $100 million. 2015, A-list agency. So I'm guessing before like 2013, he wasn't making much money from VaynerMedia. So I mean, he's done very well. Obviously, he's very successful with that company too. It sounds like, but his initial kind of wealth probably took off from his investment in Facebook. And why this matters is that his public persona kind of currently is that he still encourages a lot of people to try to become entrepreneurs on like Facebook and Instagram and create content. He's kind of encouraging unsophisticated marketers, people that don't really have a good core grasp of marketing, to do this and to do things like buy Facebook ads and try e-commerce. And he constantly talks about how easy it's an easy time to do it. I mean, it's kind of, when you really pay attention to some of the stuff, it's kind of sickening because he talks so much about Facebook and Instagram and just how easy it can be in buying the ads and all this. And anybody who's tried ads and knows more about it knows that companies that have a customer list, that already have a customer base, can much more easily build up an audience on Facebook with the ads more cheaply, because they can build custom audiences and things like that. So anybody who's just kind of going into this blind, who doesn't have any marketing background, they're really in a position to probably lose a lot of money with Facebook ads, because it's not really designed for somebody to do that without it costing a lot of money. If you want to build a custom audience up from Facebook ads, it's going to cost a lot of money, because you're going to have to run a lot of ads, whereas a company that already has a list of customers can build a custom audience immediately and then build like lookalike audiences and things like that. And he also encourages people to try to build their social media personal brand and things like that on Instagram. And again, I've seen a lot of these accounts, people that do that, and some they'll get a following, maybe a few thousand followers, but they don't have any clear way that they're going to monetize that or build it into a business. He kind of encourages people to kind of do what I consider this like fake entrepreneurship, in that they're kind of more chasing celebrity in this regard, because he encourages two different things, in my opinion. One, he encourages the people that are just more marketers to do the advertising on Facebook and Instagram. That's one set of people. There's another set of people that he encourages, which are kind of people that want to become social media celebrities on Instagram and YouTube. He talked a lot about YouTube. I know he used YouTube a lot early on to build up kind of a following, I guess. But he doesn't really. There's no depth to what he encourages usually with these people, because he basically wants to get them on Instagram, creating content, because that helps Instagram. Having a bunch of people who have a few thousand followers who create engaging content for people is good for Instagram. It's not necessarily good for the people, in that they're not going to necessarily make any money off that, because building an actual way to generate revenue is kind of a different thing from just building up a kind of an audience of people who give you attention on Instagram, because actually being able to convert that to where you can sell them products is a little bit different, and you have to kind of have a strategy going in with that. And you're competing against internet marketers who only care about making money, who don't care about building up a brand for themselves, and they're on Instagram too. So you're competing against people that are just trying to make money, and that's their only goal. And you're on there just kind of making content, trying to build a following. So it's a different, conflicting set of goals that doesn't always work out for people, I think. And he just constantly pushes this stuff. He constantly pushes people to get into what he calls entrepreneurship. And I think he has some ties to kind of upper management at Facebook, and he's kind of an unofficial. I mean, obviously they're not going to publicly acknowledge some kind of connection with him, but I think that's kind of one of his roles, like one of the things he does, because his reported net worth now is $160 million. About it here, but he constantly talks about wanting to buy the New York Jets. And, to buy the New York Jets, you're going to have to be a billionaire, maybe a multi-billionaire. I don't know how. You'd have to have a lot of money, way more than $160 million. And I'm not quite sure that his ad agency would ever result in him being a multi-billionaire, if you think about it. I mean, yes, it sounds like it's doing well, it's making a lot of money, but I'm just not sure that that's the level of wealth you could attain from that business. I really don't know, but my kind of theory is that one of his goals and how he can become super wealthy is by continuing to have this tie to Facebook and use his personal brand, his personal persona, his celebrity status to constantly push people to get into this kind of social media stuff that is just for that really benefiting Facebook and Instagram, because Facebook benefits hugely from having this huge buzz around Facebook advertising and making people think it's easy to get into and all this stuff. And there's all these like content creators and people around that topic. And there's this whole kind of industry around like Facebook ads, and Shopify is tied into that as a way to get traffic. And he talks about those things. And then with like Instagram, they need a constant flow of people creating content. See, one thing that Facebook and Instagram have always kind of taken a stance of is they don't care about paying people for content. If you look at a site like Google or YouTube, sorry, it's a different strategy. They from an early stage decided we're going to pay people to create content. We're going to pay for the content. We're going to pay content creators, and that's how we're going to just run our business. So there's people that make a good amount of money just from being big on YouTube. They make ad revenue from YouTube. Facebook does not share its ad revenue. I mean, there are some programs now to do it, but it's not they're one of their main ways that they do things. Instead, they've taken a different strategy, like with Instagram, where they try to get people to basically create content for free and put it on their platform. And they allow, in return, they seem to allow a more loose way of generating revenue from that, I guess, because people can make money off Instagram by running promotions and things like that. And Facebook seems less strict about how they police content. For example, on YouTube, they're really strict about copyright infringement and all those kind of things, which I haven't seen on Facebook and Instagram. So basically what all that comes down to is a site like YouTube has a kind of an ecosystem built in where, they have a lot of content creators and they're paying those people, and they don't need to worry as much about having this constant flow of people creating content the way that Facebook and Instagram do, because Facebook doesn't have, the people that make the most content on probably Instagram are making money off of it somehow. They've figured out, a way to generate through promotions and things like that. But but Facebook is paying them nothing. So if they decided in the future another platform was better to go off to or something, they could just do that. They wouldn't care about Facebook or Instagram because they're not actually making money directly from Facebook or Instagram. With YouTube, people aren't just going to leave that platform because they're actually getting paid by the platform. But whereas Facebook and Instagram, the top people on those platforms are just using those platforms to make money their own way through either affiliate links or things like that. So they could easily go off to another platform in the future. And I think one of his strategies is that he's there to help keep this buzz around Facebook and Instagram, and keep people seen as a way, the way to try to make a presence online and social media, as the way to build an e-commerce business and things like that, which there is truth to it. But I really think his approach and his agenda is sometimes not obvious to people, because he comes across as kind of a motivational person, like a motivational speaker type of guy who's encouraging just entrepreneurship and all these things. But you have to really think, is that really is that really what society needs in general? Is he, if you really think about it, it becomes pretty quickly pretty obvious that he's not just some good person who's trying to benefit like people as a whole. He's just he kind of has figured out a way to kind of herd people. He's become a pretty big celebrity now online, and he understands. He's a very persuasive and very good marketer, and he understands his power, and he understands how to do it. I mean, not that he's doing this in some super evil way. I'm sure there's a lot worse things he could do, but I really think his whole goal is to benefit these specific companies and to help his own stock holdings go up in value. So that's, I've heard, and this isn't just something I thought of myself. I've read this in other forum posts and things, but I really encourage anyone who has, maybe has second thoughts about what he's trying to promote, just to kind of look into it more and kind of form your own opinions.